Good afternoon, I'm Joni and welcome to this BBC News School report from Gloucester Academy. Here are the headlines today. Is Gloucestershire ready for Ebola? Traffic brought to a standstill as fire rips through an elderly couple's home. The UK will plunge into darkness as solar eclipse hits. As crime is worsening, do people feel safe? How do students feel in the UK about school uniform? What do you know about wet wipes? And Manchester City knocked out of Champions League. And now over to Vicky.
Even though Ebola has reduced in Africa, health and emergency workers are still geared up to deal with cases of Ebola if they reach Gloucestershire. When I interviewed students at Gloucester Academy, they said 58% of people said they were still scared of catching Ebola, 46% of people are not bothered about catching Ebola anymore, 40 out of the 54% think there might be a risk of catching it if it came to Gloucester. These figures show that Ebola is still in the minds of people and there is a real fear of still catching the deadly disease. So far, Ebola has killed more than 4,500 people in West Africa, and officials still believe that it could still arrive in the UK in the next 3 months.
Thank you, Louise. A serious house fire brought one of Gloucester's main roads to a standstill at rush hour on the 18th of March. 3 fire engines rushed to the scene in Finley Road, where much of a semi-detached home had been gripped in flames. The blaze started at about 3:45 p.m. and emergency services, including 4 ambulances and 8 police cars, were quick to descend on the road. The fire started in the first floor bathroom of the home, belonging to an elderly couple. It is believed a neighbour on the opposite side of the road ran over after seeing the smoke to let the couple know of the danger. The flames quickly spread to other parts of the first floor and tore through the roof, gutting the attic. Fire crews from Gloucester North, Gloucester South and Chatham East fire stations were sent to the scene. Gloucestershire Police initially closed the main route between St Barnabas roundabout and the roundabout by Finley Community School. After the worst of the fire was extinguished, one lane was reopened to ease increasingly heavy traffic. The couple were checked over by paramedics but no injuries were reported. The fire caused serious damage to the first floor of the building as it ripped through the roof. Neighbours reported hearing a loud bang before seeing thick smoke. There was a huge amount of noise when emergency services arrived. While a cause for the fire has not been established yet, one suggestion has been the water tank at the home exploding. Police hope to have the road reopened by 5:45 p.m. Earlier today, I spoke to several teachers about fire safety. Mr. Lewis, how many smoke alarms do you have in your house?
2, one upstairs, one downstairs.
Okay, thank you. How many fire blankets do you have in your house?
We don't have any fire blankets in the house.
Thank you very much. And now over to Vicky outside.
The UK will start to plunge into darkness at 9:20 in the southern areas of the UK, all the way through to 9:40 in the northern areas. People in Scotland and Northern Ireland are expected to experience the darkest conditions. Darkness will descend as the moon moves across the face of the sun, blocking its light completely for just a few minutes. Only one or 2 eclipses per century are visible from anywhere in the UK. The last UK eclipse before 1999 was back in 1927, so you can see that from the dates that this is a rarity. The moon will pass in front of the sun, blotting out up to 98% of its disk and putting much of the UK into morning twilight.
Good evening. Today I'm reporting on crime. In most cities it is increasing. I went around the school and asked teachers how they are protecting themselves about crime. How safe do you feel in your own home?
Well, Kylie, I think that's a very important question. I actually live in Bristol in an area called Clifton, which, if you don't know it, is quite a wealthy area. So we don't experience problems such as burglary or graffiti or things like that.
Have you ever experienced robbery?
Well, yes, when I was younger, someone did come up to me and ask me to give them my wallet. But because I'm quite muscly and an intimidating figure, I think when I said no to them, they duly obliged and sort of left the situation very swiftly.
Do you think you do enough to protect yourself from crime?
Yes, as I've said before, I do Kung Fu 6 times a week. I practice with my Kung Fu partner, Richard Wheatley, and I also work out at the gym at least 3 times a day if possible. And I actually hold the record at this school for the biggest lift.
Do you think you do enough to protect yourself from crime?
I think actually I probably don't do quite enough. So an example is that my husband thought that he'd locked the car one night, and it's on the little beeper, and we came down one morning and realised that actually he hadn't locked it, and so the car had been ransacked, they took everything out of their sat-nav and so on. So I think sometimes you just take for granted that you're going to be safe.
Do you feel safe in your house, not feeling like someone's going to come in?
I think, yeah, I do feel safe in my house. I think it's really sad if you don't feel safe in your house. But again, I'm quite security conscious, so I'll make sure I've got all of the locks on and so on, and I always lock the back door if I'm sitting in the lounge and things, so I do try and think about it.
So as you can see, there is a lot of crime around, but sometimes we as a general public would not helping ourselves by not keeping our house and cars safe from crimes. And now over to Angel.
Today I'm looking at how students feel about wearing school uniforms in the UK. People think that when they are allowed a non-school uniform, they can just act as if they're at home because of what they are wearing. We interviewed students at a school and they said they feel the need for school uniform because they would feel worried because they haven't got nice clothes, and others thought they could be themselves more in their own clothes. Now I'm going to interview Miss Townsend. Do you think schools should be allowed non-school uniform?
I think they need to consider it really quite importantly, because you can't have children feeling under pressure because there's no school uniform. So as a mother and a teacher, I feel that there needs to be a school uniform.
What do you think as a mum about a non-school uniform?
I think that I've got 3 children, and I would hate to have to just think to buy all these extra clothes for them because they want to look great every day. I like the idea that I've just got school uniform that they wear, and then at the weekend they can wear what they want.
What do you think as a teacher about non-school uniform?
Again, I don't agree with it. I think it puts children under pressure. People, not just from poorer backgrounds, but also people that their parents won't spend money on them because they don't agree with it. So I just think there's no pressure if everyone just looks the same.
And we asked 100 children what percentage... We asked 100 children what they think about non-school uniform. 67% said they would want to wear a non-school uniform and 43% said they wouldn't. Now over to Vicky.
Due to the solar eclipse, the weather forecast today is going to be slightly unusual, as no one can really predict how the eclipse will alter the weather. So tomorrow, the weather will be cloudy but sunny, with highs of 14 and lows of 3.
And now over to sport. Manchester City were knocked out of the Champions League last night, which leaves no English teams left in the competition. Barcelona took the lead in the 31st minute with an Ivan Rakitic goal. The teams left in the Champions League quarter-final are Porto, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG, Monaco, Atletico Madrid, Juventus and Barcelona. Whilst in the Premier League, Chelsea is still at the top of the table by 6 points with Manchester City in second. Tune in to Sky Sports 1 this Sunday to watch Liverpool versus Manchester United at Anfield. Kick-off is at 1:30. Mr. Sprosen, who do you think will win the Champions League?
Or Real Madrid.
Who do you think will win the Premier League?
Chelsea.
Thank you very much.